the buy side and the sell side, trying to put together a few things that really overlap between the two. So I think probably more pertaining to a buyer, but certainly from someone who's thinking about selling it, despite the stats of a number of businesses that don't sell. The one thing that I would really encourage, especially buyers, to do, people have this preconceived notion that buying businesses may be just for rich people or big companies or what have you, and the inclination is to potentially start a business. But I'm living proof, and tens of thousands of our clients are living proof that buying a business is very doable for the average person, for the average individual. And there's lots of ways to finance this, and a lot of way through seller financing. Most of our clients get 91% of our clients achieve seller financing. But most importantly, this is very doable. So if you have any inclination and even an ounce of entrepreneurial blood running through your veins, you really owe it to yourself to find out what's involved and to educate yourself and see if it's a path that you want to go down. The second thing would be, whether you're buying or selling a business, is don't forget what the end game here, because people have a tendency to get into the weeds and focus on the wrong things and get so immersed and oftentimes get emotional and draw lines in the sand or red flags or deal breakers or what have you. And they get way too far into the weeds and forget what the end game is. And so the way to deal with that is really have meaningful conversations and try to establish a good relationship with the other side, a buyer with a seller and a seller with a buyer, because you can get through everything if you have meaningful conversations and a good relationship, and you avoid digging yourself into these weeds and getting into scenarios that really don't make a whole lot of sense, and take you down a path that's just not going to result in a good outcome. And the last thing is, which clearly applies to both buyers and sellers, is be realistic about this whole transaction, whether it be about valuations or deal terms or what have you. You have to be realistic. You have to start breathing oxygen from this planet. Don't believe some of these stories that you hear about what businesses are sold for, or the terms and conditions, what some of these self-anointed gurus talking about buying, magnificent business, throwing off hundreds of thousands of dollars for no money down and closing the deal in a couple of weeks. I mean, that's all nonsense. It's just noise. But be realistic about what it's going to look like, and what you're ultimately trying to achieve here, and come to something. If come to agreement with both sides. Both sides have to come to agreements with the other side, in order to get a deal to the finish line, but maintaining that reasonableness and a level of fairness and being realistic throughout the process, I think applies to both buyers and sell side.